You know, every huge discovery, every groundbreaking paper, it all starts from the exact same spot, right? A blank page. And that can be, well, a little terrifying. But today, we're going to break that down. We're going to show you how to take that fuzzy idea and shape it into a real, powerful research project. Let's go from that blank page to a real breakthrough.
Oh, that blinking cursor. We've all been there, right? Just staring at it, feeling completely stuck. It's super overwhelming. But what if I told you there's actually a roadmap, a kind of formula, even, to get you moving in the right direction from the get-go?
All right, so here's our game plan. First up, we'll tackle the title. Then, we'll get into the big why and what. That's the rationale and the purpose. After that, we're going to hunt for the secret sauce, finding the research gap. And we'll wrap it all up by looking at how this works in the real world.
Okay, let's dive right in with your title. Look, it's way more than just a label. Think of it as your research's handshake, its first impression. It's the promise you're making to your reader. And honestly, it can make or break whether someone decides to read your work.
So, what makes a great title? Well, it's got to do a few jobs all at once. It has to tell people what your paper is about, obviously. It needs to be interesting enough to actually make them want to read it. And, this is a big one, it needs to have the right keywords so people can find your work in a database. You have to be specific, right? A title like African Politics? That's just way too broad. On the flip side, you don't want something super long and clunky, like a study to investigate it's all about finding that perfect sweet spot.
All right, moving on to the bedrock of your entire project, the rationale. This is where you answer the biggest, most important question anyone will ever ask about your work. So what? I mean, really, why should anyone care? Why does your research even need to exist?
So yeah, the rationale is your justification. Plain and simple. It's the case you're making for why your study is worth doing. You're basically setting the stage, showing where your work fits into the bigger picture in your field, and proving that what you have to say is actually needed.
So how do you actually write one of these? It's actually a pretty straightforward 4-step process. Step 1, you've got to dive into the existing research. See what's already out there. Step 2, you find what's missing. What are the questions nobody's answered yet? This is the key moment. Step 3 is all about arguing why it's so important to fill that gap. And bam, step 4, that strong justification basically hands you your hypothesis on a silver platter.
Okay, so we've nailed down why your research matters. Now it's time to get super specific about what you're going to do. And that's where the purpose statement comes in. I love this analogy. If the rationale is the foundation of your house, the purpose is the actual blueprint.
And this image here is just perfect. Think of your purpose statement as that arrow, aimed right at the bullseye. You could argue it's the most important sentence in your whole study, because it tells everyone exactly what your intention is. It sets the direction for everything else. It's your specific goal, loud and clear.
Okay, let's clear something up, because this is where a lot of people get tripped up. Rationale and purpose. They sound kind of the same, right? But they're totally different. Just think of it like this. The rationale is the reason. It answers the question, why is this important? The purpose is the goal. It answers, what is this study actually going to do? So one is the why, the other is the what. Simple as that.
All right, now we're getting to the really exciting part. This is the moment you go from just repeating what other people have said to actually creating something new. Finding the research gap? Honestly, this is the secret to making a real contribution, to having that aha breakthrough moment.
So what is a research gap? It's pretty much what it sounds like. It's a hole in what we know, a missing piece of the puzzle. It's some area that just hasn't been explored enough or maybe isn't fully explained yet. And when you find one of those gaps, that's your opening. That's how you carve out your own little niche and justify your whole project.
Let's make this more concrete. Let's talk about one type, called an evidence gap. This is what happens when some new research comes out with findings that totally contradict what we thought we knew. It's like, whoa, hold on a second. It's a huge sign that maybe the story is more complicated than we thought.
And here's a fantastic real-world example. So, someone does a study on remote work during the COVID-19 pandemic. Super useful stuff, right? But, and here's the key, the pandemic wasn't exactly a normal situation. So, do those findings still hold up now in more normal times? Maybe not. And that, right there, that's your evidence gap. It's the perfect little opening for a new study.
Okay, think of this table as your personal toolkit for finding these gaps. It's like a treasure map. Next time you read a paper, start asking these questions. For instance, hey, what if they'd studied a different group of people? Boom, that's a population gap. Or, I wonder if a different method would have gotten better results. That's a methodological gap.
If you start actively asking these kinds of questions, you'll be well on your way to finding your own big idea.
Okay, so we've got the title, the rationale, the purpose, and the research gap. We've got all the pieces. Now let's put them all together and see how they look in a real-world example. This one's about workplace safety in jobs that we think are low risk.
Okay, check this out. This sentence right here, this is the rationale. It says flat out what the problem is. There is a lack of knowledge. That's it. That's the justification. It's pointing directly to a knowledge gap and telling us exactly why we need this study. And then, look at this next part. This is the purpose statement. See how clear and direct that is? It even uses the magic words. The purpose of this project is to. And then it lays out the specific goal, to examine the personal perceptions. This is the what. This is the arrow hitting that target we just set up with our rationale.
And finally, this last sentence just ties it all together with a nice bow. It spells out the unique contribution by highlighting the research gap it's filling. In this case, it's a population gap, because it's focusing on a group of people who are underrepresented in other research. This just hammers home why this project is so important and what new value it's bringing to the table.
So there you have it. We've gone all the way from that scary, blank page to a solid, justified research plan. You've got the map now, you've got the tools. So the only real question left is, what unanswered question out there has your name on it? What are you going to explore?